before the world wakes up. The system is already running, invisible to most, essential to all. While nations argue and compete in the daylight, in Japan, the machinery that makes their power possible has been working through the night. Steel is shaped, chemicals are refined, circuits are etched with microscopic precision, containers are sealed, routes are plotted across dark oceans. There are no headlines here, no speeches, no cameras. Only discipline, timing, and an industrial rhythm perfected over decades. By the time New York opens its markets, the foundations they depend on have already left Japan's ports, labs, and production floors. Because before the world opens its eyes, Japan has already set the system in motion.
If you follow global news, it's easy to believe the world turns on the decisions of two capitals, Washington and Beijing. That's where headlines focus, where analysts keep returning, where most discussions about power, technology, and trade begin. As if the future were being shaped by two giants alone. A race for technological leadership, a struggle over supply chains, moreover, a push to define who guides the century ahead. This tension moves markets, influences policy, shapes diplomatic strategy across continents. It looks like a duel, an economic confrontation unfolding in real time, a contest for global leadership. But the picture we see every day is only part of the reality. Because behind this very visible dynamic, Japan is rarely part of the conversation, and yet Japan is deeply woven into both sides of this equation. Japan, a country many assume has already seen its most powerful years, often described as stagnant, aging, declining, and still, every factory, every semiconductor, every advanced machine, every critical supply chain on Earth quietly depends on it. Not at the surface, but at the foundation. A presence so integrated into the system that it is easy to overlook. The silent superpower within the global economy.
For years, Japan has been summarized with the same words: an aging society, slow growth, the lost decades. That became the prevailing narrative, but it never captured the full reality. While that image spread, Japan's ports remained active. Its factories continued operating. Its exports kept moving across the globe. The world judged Japan by growth statistics. A more revealing measure would have been how many industries still rely on what Japan produces.
For more than 30 years, the world has repeated the same phrase: Japan is in decline. After the bubble of the 80s burst, growth slowed. Demographics worsened. China rose. America dominated tech. Japan faded from the headlines, and the media reinforced this narrative. Look at this Associated Press report. Japan recorded its fifth straight annual trade deficit, a headline that sounds like confirmation of decline. But read one line deeper. Exports still rose 3.1%. Then Reuters reports something even more interesting. Japan's exports rose for the fourth consecutive month, plus 5.1% in December, driven by electronics and data center technology demand. At the same time, the yearly trade deficit shrank by more than 50% compared to the previous year. This is not what collapse looks like. This is what industrial resilience looks like. The illusion is decline. The reality is transformation. While the world was watching GDP rankings and stock markets, Japan was doing something else. It stopped competing in the loud industries everyone sees and moved into the silent industries nobody notices. Precision, materials, machinery. systems that other countries need in order to build anything at all. Japan stopped selling products and started selling the tools that make products possible. This is where real power hides, not in visibility, but in indispensability. Ironically, the most strategic industry on Earth today isn't oil. It's semiconductors. Artificial intelligence runs on them. So do data centers and the systems that shape modern life. Missiles, satellites, electric vehicles, smartphones trace back to this microscopic layer of engineering. Control what happens here, and you don't just influence technology, you influence defense, innovation, and economic power. This is where Japan's quiet dominance becomes extraordinary. Japan doesn't manufacture processors at Taiwan's scale. It doesn't lead chip architecture the way the United States does. And it doesn't assemble consumer electronics like China. Instead, Japan operates one level deeper, supplying the machinery and materials that make advanced microelectronics possible in the first place. Before a single circuit is printed, the silicon wafer has to be near perfect. Before patterns can be etched, ultra-pure chemicals have to be ready. And before mass production even begins, you need equipment capable of precision at the atomic level. At each of these stages, Japan is everywhere. Industry data suggests Japanese firms account for roughly 30% of global semiconductor manufacturing equipment. Etching systems, cleaning units, inspection tools, testing platforms. These aren't nice-to-have instruments. They sit inside fabrication plants from Taiwan to Texas to Shanghai. And when it comes to materials, the dependence becomes even clearer. Around 53% of the world's silicon wafers come from Japanese companies. Nearly half of the photoresist chemicals used in circuit printing originate there. In certain coding and developing segments, Japan's share rises into the 80% to 90% range. These inputs are notoriously hard to replace. Remove them, and production in China slows. The US facilities start feeling the pressure within weeks. Japan rarely dominates the semiconductor headlines, but it built the toolkit modern fabrication depends on. And that is a very different kind of power.
This is why the global trade story is so often misunderstood. People frame it like a simple duel, China versus the United States, as if the world is split into two camps. But in reality, a lot of modern industry works like a triangle. China is the scale factory, assembly, output, volume. America is the blueprint, software, advanced design, capital. And Japan is the quiet layer underneath. Precision parts, specialty materials, and the manufacturing know-how that keeps both sides running. And when geopolitics heats up, that hidden structure becomes visible, fast. Reuters reported that Chinese exports of rare earth magnets to Japan fell 8% in December after a diplomatic spat, with markets worrying about where shipments go next. These magnets aren't some niche commodity. They're a key input for EV motors, industrial systems, and certain defense applications, meaning a small change on a custom spreadsheet can ripple into real production schedules. So this isn't abstract trade. It's not imports and exports in the textbook sense. It's strategic dependency, the kind where one disrupted component can slow an entire supply chain. Japan focused on becoming impossible to replace, not with headlines, not with threats, but by building the machinery, materials, and precision that modern economies can't function without. And that leads to the question almost nobody asks. If the United States and China both depend on Japan so deeply, what happens when Japan decides it's time to set the terms rather than follow them?